A mysterious encounter in the countryside. Almost a decade ago, I embarked on a journey that would forever linger in my heart. Living in a bustling city, I often yearned for the tranquility of the countryside. One summer, when the city heat became unbearable, I decided to take my small red car and explore the serene beauty of nature. That night, I drove tirelessly, eager to embrace the peace the countryside offered. As dawn broke, the golden rays of the sun bathed the rolling fields, and the chirping of birds filled the air. It felt like I had stepped into a dream. But suddenly, my car sputtered and came to an unexpected halt. What now? I thought. A quick inspection revealed the issue. I had run out of petrol. I pulled out my map, hoping to locate the nearest town, but to my dismay, there was none in sight. Just as uncertainty began to creep in, I spotted a figure walking along the deserted road. It was a young woman, dressed in a flowing gown, her long black hair shimmering under the morning sun. She carried a bouquet of wildflowers and moved with an air of grace. Gathering courage, I approached her. "Excuse me," I said gently, not wanting to startle her. "I seem to be lost and out of petrol. Could you help me find the nearest town?" She looked at me with wide, curious eyes, her expression a mix of caution and warmth. "Follow me," she said softly. Her voice was melodious, almost like a song carried by the wind. Intrigued and with little choice, I walked beside her. The path she led me on was unfamiliar, winding through dense woods and open meadows. As we walked, I noticed the absence of modernity, no cars, no electricity poles. It felt like stepping back in time. Eventually, we arrived at a quaint village that seemed untouched by the outside world. The houses were small, black and white, with thatched roofs. Chickens clucked in the yards, and children played with wooden toys. The woman, who introduced herself as Mary, invited me into her home. It was cozy and simple, with a fire crackling in the hearth and an aroma of freshly baked bread filling the air. Her parents greeted me warmly but seemed equally curious about my presence. Their clothes were old-fashioned, and their mannerisms reminded me of stories from centuries past. Over dinner, I asked about petrol. Mary's father furrowed his brow, clearly puzzled. "Petrol? I'm afraid I don't know what that is," he said. "We rely on horses here." His words baffled me, but their hospitality made me feel at ease. As night fell, Mary and I sat in the garden under a sky sprinkled with stars. "This place is beautiful," I said. "Why don't more people visit?" She hesitated, her gaze fixed on the ground. "We don't often have visitors," she said softly. "And those who come rarely stay." Her words carried an unspoken sorrow. When it was time for me to leave, Mary seemed reluctant. "You must go before dawn," she said firmly. "It isn't safe to stay longer." Confused but respectful of her wishes, I promised to return. The journey back to my car was long and eerie, the village fading behind me as if swallowed by the night. When I finally reached a town and mentioned the village, the locals exchanged uneasy glances. "That village burned down over 100 years ago," one man said. "They say it reappears once every decade, but only for a day. Anyone who stays beyond sunrise vanishes forever." Chills ran down my spine. Mary's warning now made sense. Yet, my heart ached for her. Was she real, or a ghost tied to that mystical place? I may never know, but I do know one thing: when the village reappears, I will return, no matter the risk. Perhaps this time, I'll find answers, or perhaps I'll find Mary again.